Have you ever had one of those weeks where you are just pushing? I mean, really pushing. You're striving, you're staying up late, you're drinking way too much coffee, and just trying to force a result into existence by, I don't know, the sheer power of your will.
You feel like if you just grind hard enough?
Exactly. The universe will finally just crack open and give you what you want.
I think we have all been there. It is the classic strategy of brute force, the strategy of more.
And the worst part, it usually doesn't work.
Rarely.
You just exhaust yourself, you burn out, and the result you were chasing seems to move even further away. It's so frustrating. But then you look outside. You look at nature. You look at a tree. That tree isn't straining. It isn't red in the face, veins popping, trying to squeeze out a single leaf. It just grows.
It creates without strain, and that's really the contrast we're looking at today.
That's the hook. We're back in Thomas Troward's The Edinburgh Lectures on Mental Science.
And we are focusing on Chapter 6.
The topic is the law of growth.
The law of growth. It sounds so simple, but it is, I think, one of the most misunderstood concepts in the entire book.
It sounds simple, but as we're going to find out, we have been getting it wrong. We think growth is about effort, but Troward says it's about law.
It's an orderly, natural process. It's not about luck, and it is certainly not about brute force.
Before we really get into it, I have to say this.
Please do.
If this episode helps you, please hit like and subscribe for the next one.
It really does help us keep these conversations going.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We're looking at a text from, what, 1909?
Over a century ago, yeah.
But the principles feel incredibly relevant to modern burnout culture.
More than ever, maybe.
Troward has this central thesis in Chapter 6. He talks about the vitality inherent in the entity itself. That sounds very philosophical. What does he actually mean by that?
It's the core principle of the whole chapter. Troward is asking us to just look at how nature actually functions. So when you plant a seed, let's say an acorn, you don't have to provide the life force for that acorn to become an oak tree.
Right. I don't have to sit there and concentrate on it or beam energy at it.
Exactly. You don't have to stare at the ground and use your willpower to make it sprout. The pattern of the oak tree, the vitality, all the energy required to become that tree is already locked inside the seed.
It's prepackaged.
It's inherent. That's the word he used.
Inherent.
Precisely. So the gardener's job is not to manufacture the tree. The gardener's job is to provide the conditions.
The soil, the water.
The soil, the water, the sunlight. You form the conditions, you do not force the growth.
I love that distinction, forming versus forcing.
It's everything.
Because I think a lot of us, especially, high achievers, we think we have to be the engine for everything.
Right.
But Troward is saying, no, we're the climate control.
That is a great way to put it. We manage the climate. If you tried to force it, if you took a pair of pliers and tried to, pull the sprout out of the ground to make it grow faster,
you would kill it. You destroy the very thing you're trying to create.
You would snap the stem. And this is where Troward connects biology to what he calls mental science.
Okay.
He argues that our desires, our goals, our ambitions, they operate on the exact same law.
They're seeds.
They're seeds. And just like the corn, there's a specific sequence. He references that Bible verse. First the blade, then the ear, then the full corn in the ear.
Order. There's a set order to it.
It is strictly orderly. It's law versus chaos. We often treat our personal growth or our career success as if it's a lottery or some kind of chaotic scramble.
Right, like whoever pushes hardest wins.
But Troward says no. It is a biological unfolding. It happens in stages. You can't skip them.
And if we try to skip steps, if we try to get the full corn before we even have the blade,
that is when we run into trouble. We try to jump from the idea straight to the outcome, and we miss the whole maturation process. And Troward has this fantastic quote. He's actually quoting the Roman poet Horace. He says, "Nature may be driven out with a pitchfork, but she will always return by the back door."
The pitchfork. That is such a visceral image.
It is, isn't it? Imagine you're in a garden trying to chase nature away with a weapon.
You're trying to cheat the timeline.
Yes. You're trying to force a result that just isn't ready. And you might succeed for a moment. You might hack your way to some kind of temporary result. But nature, the law of cause and effect, it always returns by the back door.
And what does that return look like in, our lives?
Usually it returns in the form of burnout or failure or the collapse of whatever you built because I had no foundation. You just cannot cheat the law of growth.
So trying to cheat the natural order is a violation of the law.
It creates what he calls a negative prototype, which we can get into. But yes, essentially, you are fighting reality.
And reality always wins.
Always.
This brings us to the how. If we aren't supposed to force it with the pitchfork, what are we supposed to do? This is where he brings up the spiritual prototype.
Right. This is the seed.
The thought form.
He calls it the spiritual prototype. In modern terms, we might call this the clear intention, or the mental blueprint.
Right. Before a house exists in the physical world, it has to exist as a blueprint.
The blueprint is the prototype, and this connects to his idea of the nucleus.
I found this part fascinating because he's borrowing language from physics and chemistry.
He was very much trying to bridge science and philosophy. He explains that this thought, this spiritual prototype, it acts as a nucleus.
Okay, like in chemistry.
Exactly. A nucleus attracts particles of, character to itself. It doesn't run around chasing them. It attracts them.
That is such a key difference. The nucleus just sits there, and because of what it is, the environment arranges itself around it.
That's it. If you hold a clear, stable thought of what you want to create, whether that's a new job, a relationship, a state of health, that thought acts as a center of gravity.
And it attracts the conditions necessary for its fulfillment.
Yes. But the mistake we make is trying to manipulate the conditions before we have established the nucleus.
We tried to build a house without the blueprint.
We're running around trying to move bricks and pour cement. We're manipulating external conditions, but there is no internal center to hold it all together. Troward says this leads to anxiety.
Of course it does. It's frantic.
It is. It leads to this frantic state of mind. And here's the kicker. That anxiety itself becomes a nucleus.
Oh, wow. So if I'm anxious about failing, I'm essentially creating a nucleus for failure.
You are creating a negative prototype. You are planting a weed. And because the law of growth is impartial, it's just a law. It doesn't care if you're happy or sad. It will grow the weed with the exact same vitality it uses to grow the corn.
That is terrifying and empowering at the same time.
It creates a responsibility, doesn't it? We have to be so careful what we are prototyping in our minds.
I want to pause on the language here, though. Troward makes some really big claims, but we want to be grounded.
For sure.
When we talk about attracting conditions, we are not promising magic. We're saying that this practice may support better outcomes.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. It aligns your attention. It's not magic, it's psychology, and you could argue metaphysics. But from a purely practical standpoint, if you have a clear internal blueprint, you simply recognize opportunities you would otherwise miss. You behave differently. Safe language is important, but the principle is robust.
Okay, let's bridge this to the modern day. Troward was writing over a century ago, but so much of what he says about growth sounds a lot like what we hear in modern behavioral psychology.
The parallels are striking.
I'm thinking of concepts similar to, James Clear or dual process thinking.
Absolutely. Troward says, do not use a pitchfork. Modern science says consistency beats intensity.
There it is. Consistency beats intensity.
We have some source material on the neural network. Think about how the brain actually learns. If you try to cram for an exam, or if you try to learn a language by studying for 10 hours on one Saturday and then never again, what happens?
You forget it by Tuesday. It's gone.
Because that is high intensity, low consistency. It is a pitchfork approach. You're trying to force the brain to rewire itself instantly.
But the brain doesn't work like that.
Not at all. The brain works on automaticity.
Automaticity.
It's the process of making a behavior automatic so it doesn't require conscious effort. And this happens through repetition. A low-intensity action, something easy, something small, repeated daily, embeds itself into the neural network.
It physically changes the brain.
It literally does. It builds up the myelin sheaths around the neurons, making that signal faster and stronger over time.
So Troward's law of growth is essentially the law of compounding.
It is the compound effect. Small days stack up. Troward says the vitality is in the seed. In habit formation, the vitality is in the repetition.
You don't need to lift the heaviest weight on day one.
No, you just need to show up. That small action is the seed.
And if you keep showing up, the harvest takes care of itself.
The harvest is inevitable if the seed is watered. But, and this is a big but, if you dig up the seed every day to see if it's growing.
Which is what we do when we're impatient.
All the time. You kill the process.
Let's make this real. We have 3 practical examples to walk through. I want to apply this law of growth versus the pitchfork to real life.
Let's do it.
Okay, first up, work and career. The scenario is you want a promotion. Or maybe you're an entrepreneur and you want this new business to take off.
Okay. The pitchfork approach, the error is working frantically. It is the person who stays at the office until midnight every night, Not because they're being productive, but because they are trying to force recognition.
I feel attacked.
It's a common trap. They're checking their email every minute. They are demanding results now. But look at the energy of that.
It's anxious. It's desperate.
It's external. You're trying to manipulate the outside world, your boss, the market, to give you what you want.
So what's the law of growth approach?
You focus on the nucleus. You focus on becoming the person who deserves that role.
The internal work.
You build the skill daily. You create the internal prototype of competence. You show up, you do excellent work, and you trust that the external recognition is just a natural fruit of that internal substance.
You stop worrying about the when.
And you focus on the what. What am I building within myself?
It's the difference between chasing a butterfly and building a garden that attracts butterflies.
Beautiful analogy. That is exactly it.
Okay, second example, relationships. This one is tricky. You want a deeper connection with a partner or maybe a friend.
The mistake here is usually intensity. We think we can fix a relationship with one grand gesture.
Right. The big apology, the expensive vacation.
Exactly. We buy the giant bouquet of flowers, or we have the one big, dramatic, we need to talk conversation.
Pitchfork again.
It's intensity. But relationships are biological. They're living things. They need water, not a fire hose once a year.
Right.
The law of growth approach is the small text message cue. It's the daily small acts of listening. It is putting your phone down when they walk in the room.
Just watering the plant.
You're just watering the plant with low-stakes attention. You are watering the relationship with consistency. You're trusting that if you provide warm conditions, the connection will naturally deepen.
You can't force someone to be close to you.
You can't. You can only form the conditions where closeness is safe and feels natural.
That's profound. You cannot force closeness. You can only form the conditions for it. Okay, third example. Habits and health. This is a classic New Year's resolution failure.
The most obvious one. The scenario is getting physically fit. The mistake. We all know it.
January 1st, 3 hours at the gym.
You run until you throw up. You starve yourself.
The pitchfork. It's an assault.
It is violence against the body. And the body rebels, right? You get injured or you get so exhausted you quit by the middle of the month.
Nature returns by the back door.
Every time. So the law of growth approach is
showing up for 20 minutes.
Maybe just walking.
Yeah.
But doing it every single day, trusting that the body, the soil, knows how to adapt.
Right.
If you provide the consistent stimulus, the seed, the body must change. It's a biological law. It doesn't happen overnight, but it is inevitable.
Inevitable. I like that word. It takes the pressure off.
It really does.
You don't have to make it happen. You just have to let it happen by doing the work.
Patience is active trust. It is not passive. You are still doing the work, but you're not anxious about the result.
That leads us perfectly into a guided exercise. We want to move from theory to practice.
Let's do it.
We're calling this the seed and soil practice.
This is a way to align yourself with Troward's law right now, today.
Okay. If you're listening, if you can, just take a moment. We're going to walk through 4 quick steps.
Step 1. Choose the seed. I want you to identify one specific thing you want to grow. Don't pick 10 things.
Just one.
Just one. It could be a character trait like patience. It could be a skill, or maybe just a state of peace.
Got it. Just one thing.
Okay. Step 2. Name the condition. Ask yourself, what is the daily soil or condition that this seed needs?
The environment.
Is it a quiet room, a specific time of day, a routine you can stick to? Name it.
Okay.
Step 3. Remove the blocker. Identify one weed or contradiction. This is usually a thought of doubt or a habit of checking for results too impatiently.
Finding the resistance.
Just name the main thing that gets in the way. And step 4. Water the seed.
And what does that mean?
Take one small action today that nourishes this growth. Not a big action, not a pitchfork action, but a nurturing one.
I love that. It feels manageable. It feels like, well, like actual growth.
It's organic. It's not forced.
But even with the best intentions, we mess this up. Troward outlines some specific pitfalls.
He does.
Let's go through the 5 common mistakes and fixes. These are the traps we fall into.
Okay.
Mistake 1, haste.
Troward quotes the Bible here. He who believeth shall not make haste.
What does that mean in this context, though?
It means that if you truly trust the process, you don't feel the need to rush. The fix is to trust the timing. Haste implies a lack of trust in the seed. It's a form of doubt.
Mistake 2, digging up the seed.
This is the concept of constantly checking for results. It disturbs the growth process.
It's like pulling up a carrot every hour to see if it's orange yet.
Exactly. The fix is set it and forget it. Do the work and then detach from the immediate outcome. Trust that the growth is happening under the surface.
Mistake 3, the pitchfork.
This is forcing. Using sheer willpower to force external changes without that internal alignment we talked about.
And the fix for that?
Focus on the internal prototype. Focus on the nucleus. Let the external world rearrange itself around that rather than the other way around.
Okay, mistake 4, planting weeds.
This is counter-suggestion. Worrying. He says worrying is essentially praying for what you don't want.
It forms a negative prototype.
Yes. So the fix is to notice the worry. Don't fight it, just notice it, and gently replace it with the original positive intention.
And the 5th mistake?
Inconsistency. Applying the law only when convenient or when you feel motivated is to adopt the boring consistency mindset. Growth happens in the mundane days, not just the exciting ones.
This has been a heavy one, but in a good way. Let's try to recap. We have covered a lot of ground.
Let's distill it down, the key takeaways.
Okay, first point.
Growth is a natural law, not a lottery. It's predictable.
Second.
We must form the spiritual prototype, the seed, first. Clarity is key.
Third.
That seed forms a nucleus that attracts the right conditions.
Fourth point.
Forcing conditions with a pitchfork always backfires.
Fifth.
Consistency of thought and action beats temporary intensity every time.
Sixth.
Belief acts as the water, doubt acts as the drought.
And finally, the 7th point.
We must allow the process to happen without anxiety or haste. Trust the unfolding.
It really changes how you view your goals, doesn't it?
Completely.
It stops being a battle and starts being a cultivation.
It brings a sense of peace. You realize you're partnered with a universal law. You are not alone in the effort.
Next time, we're going to take the next logical step. Because once you have grown the fruit, how do you actually accept it?
We will be discussing receptivity. Now that we know how to grow, we must learn how to receive the harvest without blocking it.
I cannot wait for that one. That feels like a huge topic.
It is the missing piece for so many people. They do all the work and then can't accept the good when it arrives.
Thanks for being here. If you want the full series, check the playlist and please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.
See you next time.